Welcome to the Veronica Edwards Show, where we have fun financial conversations that everyone listening can apply to their personal and professional life. I'm your host, Veronica Edwards, CPA, and today we are back, Season 5 in 2025, completely independent, sponsored by my business, Balance Virtually, LLC, that provides accounting and consulting business services. And I definitely want to shout out the V team as always. As you guys know, this season we transitioned not just on audio on Buzzsprouts, but we're also on YouTube, on video. So thank you guys so much. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers and we're up to, I believe, 30 or 32. So thank you guys so much that have already subscribed. So please like and subscribe to the Veronica Edwards Show. And again, just want to thank you guys so much. We actually had a short last week that had 1,000 views. So super excited, but you can always support the prior shows on veronicaedwards.buzzsprout.com. But let's jump into today's show because it is a family edition and we have my better half, Mr. Carlos Edwards Jr. on the show. So honey, welcome to the Veronica Edwards Show. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for having me.
Look at you looking very formal. I love your background. Carlos is at the Goodwill Career Center recording studio, which if you guys are subscribing to the Veronica Edwards Show, you will see that Carlos actually interviewed me. And we'll talk about that a little later in the show. Yes, but I want to get caught up a little bit, Carlos, because the last time that you were on the show was December of 2023. Yes. And you were promoting your Christmas album.
It's been a long time.
It's been a while. It's been 18 months. As your manager, I have to plug carlosedwards.com is your website where you have a video that you've recorded. You had a Christmas album, so many things. So tell us all the things you've done since December 2023. This will air a week or a couple of days before my birthday in May. So please tell the listeners what you have been up to, the listeners and the viewers.
All right. So all of the things that I've done since December 2023, I've worked multiple jobs. I was at Franklin. Shout out to FSI. I was there, and then after that, I kind of left because I felt like it was time for me to transition. So in that phase of like transitioning, I was doing like a little substitute teaching, kind of helping out there. Shout out to Asheville City Schools, and
we love Buncombe County Schools too.
Buncombe County Schools too. Shout out, to them. And then after that, I had kind of did a going back in time rewind, and I went back to AB Tech as an adjunct. And so my first time there was back in like 2019. And then things kind of played out that there was this like pandemic, COVID-19, right?
Yeah, that kind of messed up some funding.
Yeah. And so basically I left, but then like I told myself, if that opportunity ever opened up again, I would come back, and it did. And so I was there loving it, enjoying life as a adjunct, only getting part-time, so even though, the money wasn't a lot, so to say, it kind of got my feet kind of back in that door of higher learning, and to kind of be in that position as a college instructor,
yes,
with only a BA, really, kind of, made me kind of feel special, I
BA,
guess.
bachelor's degree for those listening that don't know the abbreviations. Yes.
Yeah. And so during that time, I was kind of doing some work with Goodwill. And so AB Tech kind of has a partnership with Goodwill in that they kind of help them out with school, with funding, scholarships. And so in that process of kind of helping out with them, I ran into a individual that had kind of, he kind of threw out another opportunity to me, it was the second time he did. The first time, for whatever reason, he didn't hire me, but it's all good,
Well,
because
he
like,
offered it to you. Wasn't that he didn't hire? He offered it to you, but
well,
you
see,
had
that's the thing. He
already.
claims that he offered it, to me, but I'm like, you didn't offer it. But fast forwarding though, second time, is a charm. And so he offered another opportunity to me. And I said, hey, I can see myself being at Goodwill. And one thing that I love about Goodwill is that it has kind of helped me to kind of use all of my talents and all that
Mhm.
good stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to talk about that a little bit because it's all about timing. Just like you said, I think a
Right.
lot of times people will look at both of us because we don't usually keep a job more than a year, 2, 3 years. We were trying to figure things out. Before I started
Yeah.
Balance virtually 7 years ago, I don't think I ever
Mhm.
stayed at a job more than 3 years, but I was always looking for different experiences, seeing what was the right fit. And of course, I
Sure.
figured out I was an entrepreneur and I was the common denominator. In your case, Carlos, and I think it's so many people that can relate to this in the education field, is that you love teaching, but there's a lot that comes with teaching. It's not just dealing with the students and dealing with the parents. It's paperwork, it's politics, it's red tape. And we know how the climate is right now with our government. It can change at any point in time depending on who's in the White House. So there was just a lot of stress and different things where it wasn't
Oh
allowing
yeah.
you to really be able to use all your talents like you said. So that's why I loved when you got the opportunity to go to Goodwill. Not only that it's 5 minutes from the house, so that works out for me, and you can still drop CJ off in the mornings, but and that it's full-time pay. However, I digress. It just, you're able to do all the things. So let's just jump into exactly what you're doing at Goodwill. I believe your official title is skills instructor, the lead for Career Quest. I would love for you to talk about that more, how your role involves helping people in our community.
For sure. So here at Goodwill, I wear many hats. Technically, I am a skills instructor. I am a um and so with that, basically I'm kind of doing like a multitude of things. That's the title, but I'm a teacher slash advisor slash planner slash networker. And,
Absolutely.
and so I do like multiple things. One of those things that I do, serve safe. So serve safe, for anyone that works in that food kind of service kind of industry, you have to be certified to, work and handle food and prep and all like that. And so Goodwill offers a actual course for you to be certified in that. And so I teach said
Mm-hmm.
course. Surf Safe. Pearson View. Pearson View, we have a Pearson View testing center that's here located. And basically, we basically provide a wide range of tests, from the Army
Oh, wow.
to healthcare to real estate,
So
and so
everything related to career fields, not necessarily SAT, GMAT, GRE
right,
stuff for college
right,
entry exams. This is more like different certifications in the
right.
different career fields. Ooh, I like that. That's good to know.
Right. And so, basically I am certified to be a TA. So
Mm-hmm.
I am a test admin,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm basically that person in the back that helps to sign you in,
Cracking jokes, doing all
that's well, I'm doing it, quietly, because you have to be very quiet, right? And so I'm kind of back there, kind of, making sure things are running smoothly, making sure no one's cheating, um, none of that crazy stuff. I also had out a program that you mentioned earlier, and I have a T-shirt here. Throw it up,
I want a shirt.
okay?
Career Quest by
Yes,
Goodwill. Yes.
Career Quest. So basically, what we do in that is that this is a dynamic program that is focused on providing students with immersive real world experiences through tours, through networking. And so we kind of act as the middleman with hooking up high school students
Mm-hmm.
with the right, job opportunities out there, that they may have a certain interest in that maybe they didn't even know that actually existed. And so we are kind of like that full bridge. And so I help to plan out tours. I help to lead out lessons within certain classrooms. And again, I just help to act as that bridge, for kids trying to find out what they want to do when they grow up. And so these jobs that we kind of focus on, or jobs that don't necessarily require 4 or 5 years of actual schooling. It may just require at most you take certain tests, um, little
Get some
things,
trainings.
like that. Right? Exactly.
Oh, I love that. I've learned so much about all these different programs. I know that you mentioned Career Quest, and I always want to say Safe Serve. Serve safe.
Serve safe, yeah,
So
serve,
safe. And Pearson Review or Pearson
yeah.
View. I be adding my own things to it. But I experienced personally with a good friend of the show, Julietta Funberg. She actually has an intern through Goodwill currently, and this is like her second or third intern, where Goodwill pays the intern, and this small business owner, Julietta Funberg, who's an artist and painter and a creative, gets this intern free of charge. So not only are you guys helping young people figure out what they want to be when they grow up, you're also helping the local community with different programs that can help small business owners where they need some extra help. They want to give back too, but they might not have the funds to do so. So that's awesome. Awesome. And then also behind you, Carlos, I see Business Advisory Council.
BAC.
BAC,
And
baby.
so,
Talk about that a
yeah,
little bit. I've been able to participate. You got
it's
excited when I mentioned the BAC. Let's
yeah,
talk about the BAC.
BAC is cool, man. And so what it is that Goodwill kind of has this awesome kind of networking program that I help to plan out and I also help to lead out. And I'm
Carlos
kind of
is
like,
the MC and
I'm the
host.
MC, up there, the hostess with the mostest,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so we like to connect local owners. If you
Hmm.
have a business, right, and if you are one of those entrepreneurs out there and you're trying to get connected with other like-minded individuals like yourself, and you just need some actual platform to kind of put your things out there, to kind of put yourself out there, and then to again to have a beautiful place for you to meet people,
Hmm.
network, eat like great food, play
Free
games,
lunch, free lunch,
free
free
lunch,
parking.
free lunch, free parking,
Yes.
and again, it's a wide range of individuals that are entrepreneurs, that are business minded, that are all about trying to build and trying to just link up with just people that can really help them out. And so we do this the first Thursday of every month from 11:30 a.m. until 1 o'clock p.m.
Mhm.
And so feel free, come through, come out if you have your own business, or even if you don't have your own business and you work for someone, but you are business minded and you just want to network. BAC, come out, join us.
Absolutely. And I think it provides an opportunity for people to get involved in the community. So I
Sure.
attended the last BAC that
Hmm.
was just last week in May, and we had United Way there. So there's always a
Hmm.
speaker talking about their mission, their program, how people can support. And I learned a lot about United Way, and I walked away getting a business connection, AB Tech, but for me
Nice.
to possibly do some teaching, possibly teach some bookkeeping. And then when I went to the BAC event in March, I met, I believe, Faith, who is over
Hmm.
a program that helps with the internship. So I had a meeting with
Yes.
her. So you just
Next
meet
gen.
a next gen
Hmm.
that Goodwill has. So it's awesome. Like you said, Carlos, I'm glad that you mentioned you don't have to have a business. You could be business minded, or if you just want to get involved in your community, because
For sure.
United Way, for example, was talking about how they have like different, I forgot what they specifically call it, but where people can come and help young people with their homework. And you just come
Hmm.
in and you don't even have to know much about what's going on. A lot of times it's just helping them get organized and figure out what they have to do for the day. But they partner with a lot of schools within Asheville City and Buncombe County also. So again, I
Yeah.
just love how Goodwill is doing so much, at least that I see in Western North Carolina. So I'm very happy, Carlos, that you're affiliated with them. And it also provides me some networking for Balance Virtually LLC. So before we wrap up, because I would definitely want to get some tips and gems from you, Carlos.
Oh man, so
I
sorry.
had, yes, I had the opportunity to be where you're sitting at a few weeks ago. So if you
Yeah.
guys like and subscribe to the Veronica Edwards Show, that video is on the YouTube page right now. And that was about Career Quest. So Career Quest, from what I understand, was kind of birthed a little bit out of COVID, because
Hmm.
it's interviewing different people in different fields for young people to see what does a person that's a CPA that owns an accounting firm, what's a day in the life for them? You had a chef on, a young
Hmm.
African American man that's a chef, a very good chef, making good
Oh yeah.
money. But a lot of times people think, well, I might not want to be in this field, or this field is only for this gender or for this race. So I think it's an amazing program. If you could talk a little bit
Thank
more
you.
about Career Quest again, and if people wanted to participate in Career Quest.
Yeah, sure. So basically, what we do is that we actually combine actual in studio um, interviews, basically. And so well, first and foremost, we do kind of go out there and we network and we reach out to local people that we feel like are in jobs or in a certain position within their whole business, to where we feel like, hey, this is something different, it's something unique, and it's something that kids could have a real interest in. And also, it can also be something that doesn't necessarily require them to have to take out like a lot of loans, right? And
Yes.
so first, like, we do kind of like network and we kind of reach out to people like that. We then kind of bring them here to our studio, right?
Amazing studio off Patton
And
Avenue, West
yeah,
Asheville.
second floor, room 212, I think.
I was like, don't
And
give it
so
all away.
I know, right? I know, right? And so what we do is we have them here and we talk to them and we help them to feel comfortable enough to then share their overall insights and their views when it comes to what they do. What are the pros? What are the cons, if there are
Hmm.
any? And then certain joys and then certain gems that they can share with anyone that they feel like is something that should be shared, right?
Hmm.
And so then after that, we then kind of partner up with local schools, and so we like to go within classrooms that are CTE classrooms. So those classrooms that are kind of already kind of in that field of, okay, they're trying to maybe find out what they want to do.
And what
They're
is
working.
CTE? You education people
CTE
love
stands
acronyms.
for career technical education, I believe.
Okay, but something along that
Um,
career path.
right. And
Got it.
so, prime example, home ec, right?
Hmm.
Early childhood,
I can see
um,
cosmetology, barber.
cosmetology,
Hmm.
any class that kind of falls within that realm.
Yeah.
Those are the classes that we like to really focus in on and really go into. And then we share these same kind of videos, with kids there. We then kind of introduce certain people to them. Sometimes we may invite people to come into their classroom and then actually speak, but then after that, we like to set up actual tours to where we
Hmm.
take kids to that actual job or to that place to where they're doing their work, I guess, and then they get to kind of like job shadow, and they get to ask various questions, and they get to, really get more of a hands-on kind of
Mm-hmm.
experience, a hands-on kind of internship, I guess, short
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
um, so that they can get a taste for what they would kind of sort of be doing. And
Yeah.
so,
You got to
uh,
start somewhere. I feel
yeah,
like, you kind of have to wet that palate before because there's so many horror stories. And I know people personally, they got to that last year of college and they
for sure.
realized, I don't want to teach after they student taught. And I'm thinking, you never did this in high school or even middle school. So I love
Yeah.
that Goodwill is doing this and it's free, free,
It's
free.
free.
So that's where I'm just thinking about our soon to be 10-year-old. I'm like, I'm about to have CJ up in everything because there's so many resources and you don't even have to wait. I know a lot of what we've been talking about is for high schoolers, but there are things for
Mhm.
middle schoolers too. And even if
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Goodwill is not offering it, you could say, hey, I have a very mature seventh or eighth grader. Can I work with you guys in some way? I'm one of those people, just because there's not a program doesn't mean that you shouldn't ask or that you can't create an opportunity for yourself or your family. So, honeys,
Start
I'm
'em
almost,
young.
yes. Oh, we are with CJ. So before we go, I would love for you to just provide some gems, some jewels. You've been married to me for over 16 years. We have a soon to be 10-year-old. You're a brother, you're a son, you're an uncle, and you've done all this while pivoting careers. And now you found that dream job, it seems like. What advice would you give to folks that maybe are still kind of not struggling, but trying to figure out their way in their career path?
The advice that I would give to people is that, you got to open up every single door. Every single opportunity that does come to you, don't look at it as, well, I'm not interested in it, I don't want to do that. Find out, what you really like, what you don't like, right? And
Mm-hmm.
really pursue that. You want to actually connect with people that are doing what you want to do, or that you may have some kind of interest in. Connect with those
Mm-hmm.
people, surround yourself with those people, right? Find out what they like, find out what they don't like, find out pros, cons, all of that. Like, immerse yourself, in it. And then just be open minded,
Yes.
right? Just be willing to try new things out. Do not close the door. Do not think, well, I don't know if I'll be good in this or if I'll be good in that. Like, try it out,
Mm-hmm.
and see. Um, what else could I
No,
give in terms
that's
of
great.
advice?
I mean, I
Yeah,
think it's really
yeah.
not that deep where people think like, what's the secret
Hmm.
to success? I think the difference is the people that succeed didn't give up. We have
Right,
failures all the time and we have
for sure.
wins and then we have to pivot. I tell people when I was getting started with my business, I did taxes, I did bookkeeping, I taught in person, I tried to figure out all the things and I quickly saw, okay, I don't want to do this and I do want to
Hmm.
do that. And I think sometimes we have to just stick to what we want. I know we've struggled with that. Like we're products of baby boomer parents. And
Oh, yeah,
so they
for
worked one
sure.
job for 25, 30 years and that
Yeah,
was it.
yeah.
And so we kind of had to break out of that because that's not our personalities. We're multi-talented, like a lot of you guys that are watching and listening. So you don't want to limit yourself, like you said. And if you do find that you like a lot of different things, that's okay. I mean, you have an
Oh, yeah.
opportunity, Carlos, at Goodwill, where you can do a lot of the things and get paid for it, but you also have your hobbies and things that you do on the side, like we mentioned with your website, carlosedwards.com. I'm trying to get
Huh.
Carlos to get us something in
Well, I
2025.
got some speaking engagements coming up,
Mm.
and I have some other things that I'll be kind of pivoting into, a little podcasting,
Hmm.
uh, doing, some more little interviews with, my job, of course, but then, outside during the free time, doing like some more of that.
But as your
I
manager, I need
got
this
some things
on the
planned out.
website. I'm trying to, and plus, we also have
We'll put it on the
CJ
web.
Edwards that wants to have his own podcast too, our 10-year-old. So watch out, honey. We got another Edwards coming through.
Yeah. He has a passion for Transformers, dinosaurs, kaijus, big monsters. all that good stuff.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
Well, honey, it's already to the end of the show.
Oh, already?
Thank you so much. Can you please tell folks how they can reach out to you or reach out to Goodwill if they want any information about the BAC, Career Quest, Serve Safe? I had to think about that. All the different things. Next Gen.
For
How do
sure.
we reach out?
For sure. Well, one way to reach out to me, you can actually email me at caedwards at goodwillnwnc.org.
That extra N after all of everybody.
Yeah, I know, right? That's
NWNC.
Yep, that's C.A. Edwards at goodwillnwnc.org. Or you could, call me on the work phone, of course. That is 828-752-0669. Or, if you are local, right, which I'm assuming some of you are, some of you are not, but if you are local, come to the Goodwill off of Patton Avenue.
Yes, and this is the Career Center Goodwill. Don't just roll up to a random Goodwill.
The Career Center. I'm sorry, because we have it's a larger building.
Yes.
And there's two sections, right? They have the warehouse where you can go shop, buy your stuff.
Which I love.
Which is awesome, right? And then they have the Career Center. And so, that's where you want to, walk into, go to the front desk and just, ask them any question and they can help you out. They will point you to the right person or right place to go.
A lot of times you'll get Paige, who we love, up front.
Yes.
But honey, thank you so much for being on the show. And it's just been a blessing spending these last 17 years with you and being married for the last 16 years. I'm very proud of you. And all the things that you've been doing and that we've been doing together. The end of this month, we're going to Universal Studios. So I'm excited about
Proud of you too, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I want to thank everybody for tuning into the Veronica Edwards Show. You can listen to all prior shows at veronicaedwards.buzzsprout.com or balancevirtually.com. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, all that fun stuff. And until next time, stay balanced and financially savvy.